June 2009, the world was on the edge of its seat. Michael Jackson, the king of pop, was preparing for what would be the greatest comeback in entertainment history. The This Is It tour. 50 sold-out shows in London, millions of fans waiting, a projected revenue of over $400 million. But behind the scenes, at the Staples Center in Los Angeles, something was terribly wrong. Something the cameras captured, but the world would never fully see. In October 2009, just 4 months after Michael's death, Sony Pictures released This Is It, a documentary showcasing Michael's final rehearsals. The film was a global phenomenon. It painted a picture of an artist in complete control, a genius at work, a performer ready to reclaim his throne. The documentary earned over $261 million at the box office worldwide, making it the highest-grossing documentary concert film of all time. Critics praised it. Fans left theaters in tears, grateful for one last glimpse of their idol doing what he did best. The film showed Michael directing his dancers with precision, running through elaborate stage productions, perfecting every detail of what was meant to be the greatest show on earth. He looked focused. He looked determined. He looked ready. But what you saw in theaters was carefully curated, edited, controlled. Approved by an estate with billions of dollars at stake. Former crew members, backup dancers, musicians, and production staff have revealed over the years that over 100 hours of rehearsal footage were filmed during those final weeks. Some reports suggest it could be as much as 120 hours of raw material. The movie you saw in theaters? It runs just 1 hour and 52 minutes. That means roughly 98 hours of footage exists somewhere in a vault that you've never seen. Footage that tells a very different story. Let's go back to the beginning of rehearsals. April 2009, Michael Jackson signs on for 50 concerts at the O2 Arena in London. At 50 years old, he hasn't toured in over 12 years. He hasn't performed a full concert since 1997. The pressure is immense. AEG Live, the concert promoter, has invested millions. Tickets sell out in hours. 800,000 people from 75 countries buy tickets. The entire world is watching. But according to multiple sources who were present, Michael wasn't ready. Not physically, not mentally, not emotionally. Travis Payne, one of the choreographers, later admitted in interviews that they had to simplify some of the dance routines. Michael, who once performed the most physically demanding choreography in pop music with ease, was struggling to keep up with moves he'd invented decades earlier. Dancers who worked on the production have spoken about rehearsals where Michael would appear confused, losing his place in routines he'd performed thousands of times. There were moments where he'd stop mid-song, disoriented, asking what came next. One backup dancer, speaking on condition of anonymity years later, described watching Michael attempt the iconic spin from Billie Jean and stumble, not once, but multiple times during the same rehearsal. The man who had defied gravity on stage was losing his balance. These moments, naturally, didn't make it into the final documentary. Kenny Ortega, the tour director and a longtime friend of Michael's, saw what was happening, and he was terrified. On June 14th, 2009, just 11 days before Michael's death, Ortega sent an email to Randy Phillips, the CEO of AEG Live. The email, which later became public during the wrongful death trial, painted a disturbing picture. Ortega wrote that he had to send Michael home without rehearsing because he was in no condition to perform. He described Michael as appearing lost, unable to focus, complaining of being cold on a warm California evening. He expressed deep concern for Michael's physical and emotional state. The response from the production company? Keep going. The show must go on. Dr. Conrad Murray, Michael's personal physician, allegedly assured everyone that Michael would be fine, that he would get him ready. We all know how that turned out, but here's what haunts the people who were there. They could see Michael deteriorating before their eyes, and much of it was caught on camera. Camera operators filmed everything, the good rehearsals and the bad ones, the moments of brilliance and the moments of struggle. Where is that footage now? According to insiders, the estate and Sony made very deliberate choices about what to include in the documentary. The goal was to celebrate Michael's genius, to give fans a final gift, and yes, to protect a brand worth billions. But some who worked on the film's editing have hinted at much darker material that exists. Rehearsals where Michael broke down emotionally. Sessions where he expressed fear about the tour, about the pressure, about whether his body could handle it. One former crew member claimed in an online forum that there's footage of Michael sitting alone backstage, visibly shaking, looking absolutely terrified. Another source mentioned a rehearsal where Michael apparently had what appeared to be a panic attack. There are reports of footage showing Michael so thin and frail that producers worried about how it would look on camera. Allegedly, some of the lighting and camera angles in the final documentary were specifically chosen to make Michael appear healthier and more robust than he actually was during those final weeks. One particularly chilling piece of alleged cut footage involves Michael talking to the camera crew between takes. According to someone who was present, Michael spoke about legacy, about wanting to be remembered, about feeling like time was running out. Not in a suicidal way, but in a manner that suggested he somehow knew his time was limited. The crew apparently didn't think much of it at the time. Artists are dramatic. They speak in hyperbole. But after June 25th, those words took on a haunting new meaning. Here's the uncomfortable truth that hangs over all of this. Michael Jackson was worth more dead than alive to a lot of people. The This Is It tour was going to be massive, yes, but it also represented enormous risk. What if Michael couldn't complete all 50 shows? What if his health failed mid-tour? What if the shows weren't up to his legendary standards? After his death, the documentary became a sure thing. No risk. Pure profit. The estate has since earned over $2 billion from Michael's music, image, and legacy. Forbes repeatedly ranks him as the highest earning dead celebrity. So when you ask why that footage remains locked away, you have to consider what's at stake. That footage could raise questions about whether Michael was fit to perform, whether people around him prioritized profit over his well-being, whether warning signs were ignored. It could lead to lawsuits. It could damage reputations. It could tarnish the careful image of Michael's final months that the estate has cultivated. And so it stays hidden. In the years since Michael's death, some of the dancers and musicians have spoken more openly, though usually carefully, about what they witnessed. Several have described Michael as being in pain, not just tired from rehearsals, but genuine physical pain. He would sometimes grimace while dancing, or have to stop and catch his breath in ways that seemed concerning for someone preparing for a 50-show run. One dancer mentioned that Michael would often wear multiple layers of clothing during rehearsals, even heavy jackets, because he complained constantly about being cold. This, despite rehearsing under hot stage lights in Southern California in June. We now know this was likely a side effect of the propofol and other medications Dr. Murray was administering to Michael nightly. But at the time, people just thought it was odd. There are also stories about Michael's weight. Several crew members have mentioned that catering would bring food to Michael's dressing room and it would sit there untouched. He was barely eating. Some estimated he weighed less than 130 pounds in those final weeks. The official documentary shows carefully selected shots, often with Michael in loose-fitting clothing or filmed from flattering angles. But those who were there saw the reality, a man who was wasting away. June 23, 2009, Michael Jackson's final rehearsal. By most accounts, this was actually one of his better performances. He seemed more energetic, more focused than he had been in previous sessions. Some of the footage from this rehearsal made it into the documentary. You can see Michael running through Earth Song, Billie Jean, and Man in the Mirror. He looks engaged, even excited at moments. But according to people who were there, even this rehearsal had troubling moments. Michael reportedly told his choreographer, "You have to take care of me. I need you to take care of me." When asked what he meant, he apparently just repeated it with an intensity that made people uncomfortable. After the rehearsal ended, Michael reportedly told the crew, "We've got to get this done. It has to be perfect." Then he left the Staples Center for the last time. 48 hours later, he was dead. Here's what keeps people up at night. If someone had released the unedited footage, all 100+ hours of it, would it have changed anything? Would we see clear evidence that Michael was being pushed too hard? Would it show people around him ignoring obvious signs of distress? Would it prove that money and pressure killed the king of pop? Or would it simply confirm what many already believe, that Michael Jackson was an artist who gave everything he had every single time, even when he had nothing left to give? The footage exists. It's sitting in a climate-controlled vault somewhere, probably at the estate's offices or in a Sony facility. The estate has confirmed they have extensive archives of unreleased material, not just from This Is It, but from Michael's entire career. They've released bits and pieces over the years, posthumous albums, special edition documentaries, anniversary editions. But the raw, unedited rehearsal footage, that remains untouched. Michael Jackson gave us everything. 45 years of music, dance, innovation, and artistry. He revolutionized music videos, broke racial barriers, created a sound and style that influenced generations. But in his final weeks, what did we give him back? A grueling schedule, impossible expectations, pressure to be superhuman when he was barely holding on as a human. The footage that's locked away tells that story. It shows the price of fame, the cost of being an icon, the tragedy of a system that values profit over people. Those who've seen it carry the weight of knowing the full truth. They saw Michael Jackson not as the king of pop, but as a 50-year-old man, exhausted, medicated, and pushed to his breaking point. The documentary we got shows us Michael the legend. The footage we'll never see shows us Michael the man. 25 days after that final rehearsal, Michael Jackson was gone. The This Is It tour never happened. The world lost an icon. 3 children lost their father. And somewhere in a vault, 100 hours of footage sits in darkness, holding secrets that might explain how we let it happen. Holding images of a man crying out for help in the only way he knew how, by trying to give one more perfect performance. The question isn't just what was cut from the film. The question is what could have been different if someone had been watching more carefully, if someone had said no, if someone had put Michael before the money. We'll never see that footage, but those who have will carry it with them forever. That's the real haunting legacy of Michael Jackson's final rehearsals. If you want to hear more untold stories about the legends who changed music history, like and subscribe to King of Pop. Stay tuned for more content.